Are the Boston Celtics on the brink of making a game-changing move? As the trade deadline approaches, whispers of potential additions to our roster are heating up. With a fully healthy team returning to Boston, the question looms: will they secure that elusive wing or big that could propel us to the top? Stay tuned, because this could be the moment we've been waiting for. If you want to catch every update on this unfolding story, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give us a like. The Boston Celtics are back in the TD Garden after a triumphant road trip, and the buzz is palpable. With Kristaps Porzingis returning to the lineup, the Celtics are gearing up to build some serious chemistry as they approach the halfway mark of the season. But amid this excitement, the trade deadline looms. And the question on everyone's mind is, what moves will Brad Stevens make to bolster the roster? Right now, the trade landscape feels a bit stagnant. With only a few minor moves since late December, many teams are still weighing whether they should buy or sell. For the Celtics, the options appear limited. They can only bring in veterans at the minimum unless they find a way to move Jaden Springer as part of a salary dump. This means that the focus could shift to scouting for those hidden gems among teams that are expected to be sellers, like the Hornets, Nets, Raptors, and Wizards in the East, and perhaps the Pelicans and Blazers in the West. Now, let's talk about potential targets. Names like Javonte Green and Daniel Theis have been mentioned, but let's face it, these guys might not make a significant impact on the roster. The Celtics need depth, especially on the wing, and while those veterans could provide some insurance, they're not the kind of players that will elevate this team in a meaningful way. I think Brad Stevens may need to get creative here, possibly looking to the free agent market for a more impactful addition instead of playing the trade asset game unless a real opportunity presents itself. As for the current season, I'm feeling pretty optimistic about how things have unfolded so far. Initially, I was leaning towards a B+ grade for their performance, but after considering the circumstances, namely the injuries and the fact that they've only been at full strength for 2 games, I'm convinced that an A is warranted. This team is on pace for 60 wins, which is no small feat given the challenges they've faced. Let's take a moment to appreciate the contributions of key players. Jason Tatum and Derek White have been phenomenal, stepping up when it mattered. Peyton Pritchard looks like a shoo-in for 6th Man of the Year, and while Drew Holiday and Sam Hauser might not be having their best seasons, we can attribute some of that inconsistency to age and injury. As for Al Horford, I'm not sure how. He keeps defying Father Time, but I'm grateful for every minute he's on the floor. But let's not ignore the shortcomings. There have been some glaring issues. Getting to the free throw line and securing offensive rebounds have been areas of struggle, and I can't help but worry about their ability to force turnovers. Still, when you watch them play, you can see glimpses of the contender they could be, especially with the competition heating up from teams like the Cavaliers and the Thunder. So, with all these factors in play, do you think this is the right path for the Celtics? Honestly, I'm torn. On one hand, they've shown resilience and depth, but on the other, I can't shake the feeling that they might need that extra piece to truly compete for a championship. I want to hear your thoughts. Do you think we should prioritize adding a wing or a big, and who do you see as the most realistic targets? The Boston Celtics are buzzing with speculation, and today, we're diving into the intriguing possibility of acquiring Jimmy Butler from the Miami Heat. Can you imagine? This is a scenario that has been simmering for years, and now it seems like we could be on the brink of something monumental. Butler has nearly joined us twice before, and with whispers of his desire to leave Miami in search of a championship contender, the Celtics might just be his landing spot. From a basketball standpoint, the fit is tantalizing. The Celtics have been struggling in key areas this season, getting to the free throw line, finishing at the rim, forcing turnovers, and creating transition opportunities. Jimmy Butler excels in all these facets. Just picture him in green. Half of his shot attempts come at the rim, and he's hitting an astonishing 70% of those shots. Imagine that efficiency combined with our elite spacing. It's a match made in heaven. Plus, he's a master at drawing fouls, earning shooting fouls on 23% of his attempts. Better than stars like Joel Embiid and Giannis Antetokounmpo. That's precisely what the Celtics need when the outside shots aren't falling. Now I know what you're thinking. What about Jaylen Brown? He's been a cornerstone of this team, and losing his defensive prowess against opposing superstars is a legitimate concern. But here's where it gets interesting. Butler's playmaking and elite defense could allow players like Drew Holiday or Jason Tatum to step up in that role. Butler's ability to disrupt passing lanes and pressure ball handlers would address the Celtics' defensive woes and create more transition opportunities. While we'd miss Brown's ability to guard elite scorers, Butler could help transform many of our weaknesses into strengths. Financially, this trade poses its own set of challenges. The Celtics are navigating the tricky waters of the second apron, which limits their ability to trade multiple players or take on more salary. A swap of Brown for Butler, potentially with some draft picks from Miami, makes the most sense. The financial ramifications are complex, with the Celtics needing to consider the penalties of staying in the second apron and the looming question of their two stars, Brown and Tatum. While trading for Butler could provide some flexibility, it also raises questions about the future. Will Butler want to stay? Can they afford his next contract? At 35, he's not in his prime anymore, and while Brown's best years are ahead of him, this is a tough call. Now, let's talk about the intangibles. How would the players react to such a significant shift? The chemistry built around Brown and Tatum is crucial for the team's success, and integrating Butler, who has been a fierce competitor against us, could create some tension. Would Brad Stevens really break up a team he's worked so hard to assemble? The recent trade of our longest tenured player brings this into sharper focus. We've got to consider the emotional impact on the team and the fans. This potential trade isn't just about improving the roster. It's about the Celtics' identity and future direction. If Butler were to come to Boston, it would signal a major shift in our championship aspirations. But at what cost? And you know, this all comes at a time when the team is for sale, so a trade could reshape the financial landscape for potential buyers. Honestly, I'm torn on whether this is the right path. The allure of Butler is undeniable, but there are so many layers to peel back. Do I believe this trade could elevate the Celtics? Absolutely. But I also worry about what we'd be losing in Brown. What do you think? Would Butler bring us closer to banner number 18, or would it create more problems for the future? I want to hear your thoughts down below. Let's engage in this conversation, Celtics Nation. How do you see this unfolding? Be sure to like, share, and subscribe to stay updated on all the latest Celtics news. And don't forget to activate the notification bell to get all the latest updates. Let's keep the discussion going.